Good afternoon, drawing class. Today I'm going to be demonstrating to you guys how to get started on your self-portrait. Hopefully you viewed the PowerPoint and discussed that already. Your sketchbook assignment 4 should have been where you learned how to draw the face, dividing it up into thirds and measuring with proportions. And you should have a sketch in your sketchbook assignment where you can see that you've practiced drawing your face with pencil. You've made a list of some things that describe your personality, and then you have started to sketch out how you could illustrate your personality. Okay? So the objective for this lesson is that you are learning how to draw the face realistically so that it resembles you, and that you are using multiple images to illustrate your personality on one side of your face. Okay? So one side of your face should look realistic, and one side of your face should have illustrative properties that go back to your personality, okay? So this is what I have so far. You should have some time put into this so that you are ready. You will be doing this on large 18 by 24 inch paper, which is on the class drawing shelf. For today, I'm going to show you on a smaller piece of paper just so that more of it fits on the screen since I'm a little limited here, okay? So once you have your sketch done, you are going to start to draw on your final paper, your 18 by 24 inch. Okay? You may use the stencil for the face shape if you are having an issue with getting the size. For what you guys are doing, think about your hand, your face that you are drawing on your final paper should be bigger than your hand. If it's smaller than your hand, it's going to be way too small for the 18 by 24 inch paper. Okay? And when you go to draw your face, you want to start it smack dab in the middle of your paper, okay? Unless there's some artistic reason why you want to put it down in a corner or something, okay? But we need to see the full face front view, okay? So just as you've seen in some of the demo videos, I start with a circle sort of shape for the cranium of the face, and now I'm going to add the lower part of the face, okay? So this would be like your jawline area. Notice I'm drawing very light, especially when you guys are on the 18 by 24 inch paper. Make sure you are doing everything with very light touches before you're starting out. So I'm going to try and eyeball dividing this into thirds, okay? Just like you guys have done before. This is how we start measuring out the face. So if you look at where these lines are, that's going to help give me some perimeters. And it's not to say you're going to adjust some things, because you might adjust things as you go. Okay, so on this bottom line here, my nose is going to come down to touch it. So I'm going to just make a little circle there so I remember that's where the nose is. Okay, so this would be the first third. Okay, all dividing the face up into thirds. Okay, now on my jawline area, I'm going to divide this in half, approximately somewhere in half. Okay, that is where your mouth is going to fall. So I just put a very little bit darker horizontal line in there so you guys can see that. I know you're thinking there's a lot up here, but your cranium's a lot bigger than people think. Okay, so here's my nose, and then usually you should be using either a photo you took on your iPad or a mirror to help you get the rest of the parts of your face. Okay, so for now I'm just going to very lightly sketch in the nostril area. Okay, this next line here is going to help tell me where my eyes are going to fall. Okay, so if I look at it, it should go across the top of where my eyes are going to fall. So I just very lightly sketch in the shape. As you've known from watching the videos, they're never going to be a football shape, okay? They're always going to be made up of angles or planes, kind of more like the top of a hexagon rather than a football, okay? But this is just to kind of mark things out. Remember, you should always have enough space in the middle for a third eye. If you don't, then your eyes are either too close together or too far apart. So you can kind of measure that out very lightly by trying to draw another eye of the same size. And by doing that, I can see I need to trim these two down just a little bit. Okay, so once again, really, really light. Okay, now I have my main portions of the face. Your ears, we're going to come in here next. They are going to touch the top part of this third line and the bottom part of this line. So basically they start where your eyes start and they're going to end where your nose ends. Okay? Everyone's ears shape is a little different. Basic starting shape is like a C. And then you start, and I always just kind of suggest the ears. Get the little cartilage area in there, and then you have this sort of kidney bean shape. It's also a deep shadow, okay? I'll go in and spend some more time on those, okay? Remember to refer back to your sketch, because now what I'm going to do is pick one side of my face to illustrate realistically using just pencil and the values, okay? The other materials are for the other side of the face, because we want to see a nice contrast between what is your personality we see and what is perhaps the personality of you we don't see, okay? So notice how I'm just going to very lightly sketch in the nostrils. Remember, the tip of your nose is actually going to come a little bit below this third line for most of you, okay? And the thing with the nose, as you guys have probably learned from sketching them several times, is that it's all made up of values. You're really not drawing the nose, you're more sculpting it by how you place your values on the nose area, okay? I'm going to just kind of lightly suggest the bridge of my nose here. I have like a prominent bone that kind of shows through here. Everyone's nose is different, okay? All right, now I'm going to look at the lips and kind of start doing those a little bit. I always like to darken the crease, especially if you're drawing the mouth closed, which most of you probably will, just because that's easier before I start, just because that's going to help me get the sense of there being an opening there, okay? Then you have your nice little dip that comes down to your lip from your nose, okay? And then you have your top lips. And as you've watched from the videos, there are very specific muscles in these lips that help give them their structure and their functions. Okay, so try and now at this point select a light source. Okay, if you're sitting in the classroom, you should hopefully be able to see a light source. For me, I'm going to say it's coming from over here for some reason, so I just like to mark that with a little X. It's always good to help identify a light source because that gives you some direction for shading. So if my light's coming from here, my shadow's going to be on the opposite side of my nose. Okay, so now that I've put some lines there, I'm going to start adding some value. And this is just how I'm starting this. So notice how I use the side of my pencil and I feather it away. Okay, now underneath my nose there's obviously going to be a shadow. So this is the part that's probably the hardest for people, is doing the nose. Start with the lines, start with some shapes, okay, so like I had that little tennis ball shape because my nose is cartilage on the end, so it's round, okay? Everyone's nose is going to be cartilage on the bottom part and bone up here at the bridge, okay? It just depends on how much of those areas you see. So I treat this like it's a sphere. I treat this like it's a sphere. The light is coming down, creating a highlight on the top of the sphere, and then I have a shadow on the bottom part of the sphere. So that's the hardest thing to see. If you can see your face as individual shapes, it won't seem so difficult to you. Okay, I'm going to scooch this nostril in a little bit. So don't be afraid to adjust things and change things as you're going, because that's just part of the natural process. Okay, that's why you always want to start light. All right, so now I'm up in the eye area. As you guys should be picking up from drawing, we want to get that tear duct in there. Okay, and I am going to try and remember my planes here so that I get the top part of my eye. So it shouldn't have too much of a football shape, it should be a little more angular. So just kind of carve that out of there, okay? The other thing that you should have picked up from watching the videos is that your eye is actually a sphere as well, so you have to treat it as a sphere. So if the light's going to be hitting from up here, it's going to make a highlight here, and I'm going to make a shadow over here. So even though we call them the whites of your eyes, they're really not ever white, okay, unless they are directly in the light. And even if they are, sorry, my cat is meowing here. Okay, even if they are, they're going to still have some value. Okay, while you were young, your eyes kind of pop out from your skull because they're round. So there should be a little bit of shadow happening underneath the opening of your eye. Okay, and then you also will have a glare inside the eye. That's the opposite side of where your light's hitting. Okay, it's important to add a glare that sort of adds a little bit more of a human characteristic to the eye. Okay, now I'm going to work on the eyelid. Depending on your features, your eyelid is heavy, so that would mean there's a lot of space between the top of it and the start of the eye, or it's thin, which would mean there's not much space, and you would draw a thinner line. Okay, I happen to have heavy lids, and then they obviously go out, wrap around, and disappear behind that orb of your eye. Okay? Okay, now I want to draw the eyebrow. The eyebrow should start from where the corner of your eye is, and it should end at the other corner of your eye. So you can kind of draw a couple lines. And this is also something that they should show you in those videos. So if you don't remember, go back and watch them. Pay attention to your brow. Notice how I just draw a light arch to get the shape, and then create the individual hairs that make up my eyebrow, okay? And then I can erase my guidelines as I go. All right, so now I'm just going to continue adding some value. See as I adjust the chin area there. Okay, you can always go back and adjust things. All right, so I'm going to continue working on this. I'll show you it when it's done in the next video, and then quickly demo how to add some images for your personality. Oh, Arlo, shut the heck up.